You're watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.
Small business owners continue to show remarkable resilience even as inflation remains their biggest challenge. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce Small Business Index finds that confidence has remained steady, with many business owners expecting revenue growth and planning to hire despite growing concerns about costs and a more cautious outlook on investment. Joining us today to discuss what these findings mean for entrepreneurs is Tom Sullivan. You've seen him here before on ASBN. He's the Vice President of Small Business Policy at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. So, Tom, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me again, Jim. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too. So the latest Small Business Index shows confidence holding relatively steady despite ongoing economic uncertainty that we've talked a lot about in the last months. But what stands out to you the most in the quarter's findings?
Sure. I think what stands out to me most is this resiliency and optimism small businesses have. They're looking forward to the second half of this year and saying, we expect revenues to go up and we expect to hire. And with all of the uncertainty swirling around them, that really says something about the optimism of small business owners.
Yeah, for sure. Inflation is once again the number one concern for small business owners. How are higher costs affecting the decisions that they're making every day in their businesses?
Well, Jim, there's two things that we see. First of all, small business owners really don't have any choice but to pass on some of those costs through raising their own prices. And you and I have talked about this in the past. That is not an easy decision. Small business owners cannot lose customers. And so to raise a price point is a huge risk for any small business owners. But when their input costs are going up, they really have no other choice. The other thing that we see is with rising prices, even though there's optimism, it's cautious optimism. And you just don't see the types of growth planning for the end of 2026 and the beginning of 2027 that we would really hoped for. So they're kind of hedging. They know that their revenues are going to go up. They're not quite sure if that will equate to profits that they can reinvest in their business and grow.
Yeah, speaking of growth, many owners expect revenue growth and are planning to hire over the next year, but investment plans remain relatively flat. What's driving that more cautious approach?
Sure. So the relatively flat can be looked really from two sets of lenses. One is the positive, which is, well, at least it's not negative.
Yeah.
And the other is looking at the new tax law and saying, gosh, we really should be seeing reinvestment higher because there are so many provisions in the new tax law specifically designed for small businesses to invest. So we have that kind of good news, bad news scenario going on. And really, you nailed it in our previous question, that there are two factors that are driving that cautiousness. First is inflation, and second is uncertainty.
Yeah, boy, that's for sure. Especially with this situation, in the Middle East, gas prices, and 1 minute the strait is open, the next minute it's not open. It's like, what day are we on, right? And it's got a lot of business owners concerned about that.
It does, Jim, and I think you and I have talked in the past about how there are more negative feelings about the national economy than positive, and that's not a new phenomenon. We've been struggling with that for over 4 years, quite frankly. But when we look at our findings, remember, we're looking at them at a point in time where we see lots of other data coming in all at once, especially at the mid-year mark. And so what we saw in June in particular is that when gas prices started to go down a little bit, the small business optimism picked up. And that's a very positive thing. It reinforces what we've talked about, and that is the sensitivity to gas prices. And that's for two reasons. The first is that small business owners rely heavily on transportation, as you certainly know. The second is that it's a localized emotional response. When you drive by a gas station twice a day, every day, and you see the prices going up, it tends to stifle down your optimism.
Yeah, so it's so true, so true. The U.S. Chamber recently released research showing rapid AI adoption among small businesses. How are entrepreneurs using AI today, and what impact is it already having on productivity and growth?
Well, Jim, AI is the big game changer when it comes to small business. This is not new because technology has always allowed small business owners to compete with global multinationals, but AI is taking it to a way higher level. I'll give you an example. There's a coffee roaster, multi-generational coffee roaster out in San Francisco. Parag Kalebjian runs Henry's Coffee. He's used AI to actually create a device that spritzes water on the coffee grounds as he's bagging the coffee because there's a problem with static electricity. Parag's not an engineer.
Yeah.
He's not an inventor. He's a coffee roaster, but he used ChatGPT to design this technology that allows him to bag coffee faster and satisfy the demand he's getting online for online customers. So that's just one example, Jim, of hundreds and thousands of examples of how small business owners are taking advantage of AI really to grow their own businesses and to squeeze out that word no small business has. Which is spare time. No small business has extra time or spare time.
That's right.
But in reality, Jim, AI gives you a couple more hours in the day.
It really does, and it helps to level the playing field so that small businesses can compete on a larger scope, right? Against the big players out there in whatever field. Right.
And Jim, you're really focusing on the phenomenon that we've seen for the past 4 years, and that is record high new business starts.
Yeah.
Some people are kind of scratching their head and trying to figure out, well, why did it take 25 years for new business starts to kind of reach the levels that they're at? And I think you answered that question yourself.
Yeah.
AI is part of it.
That's right.
And it's allowing those small business owners to compete against global multinationals. Really impressive.
That's right. That's right. As business owners look ahead to the rest of the year, what are the biggest opportunities and challenges that they should be preparing for?
So I think right now, small business owners who are micro-focused on their cash balances, their P&L, they're going to do the best because they know where there's some wiggle room. They know where there's no margin. They know where raising prices is not going to hurt their customer bases.
Yeah.
Those businesses that are really dialing into the data available to them, they're going to be successful. We also see that when it comes to AI, that the top performers, top revenue, top profit, and top employers are all super users of AI. And so I think that trend's going to continue.
I agree. It's going to be a game changer for sure. Tom Sullivan, Vice President of Small Business Policy at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show. Very much appreciated. For business owners that are watching us have this discussion, and I know there are thousands of you out there, if you're not a member of your local Chamber of Commerce, you are missing the boat. Right, Tom? I mean, it is just a wealth of all kinds of things, not just new business and networking. That's a part of it. But all of the different classes that so many chambers have and so many different types of resources that they can provide to small business owners and entrepreneurs and those that are thinking about getting into business. I have started many businesses, and I always start at my local Chamber of Commerce, and it never fails me. So that is my pitch to you today, that if you're not a member of the local chamber that you're in, the business that you're doing business, or I should say the city you're doing business in, become a member. You can thank me later on this, but it really is a great place to start and finish. So thank you so much, Tom, for joining us on the show. Very much appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jim, and thank you for championing our local and state and regional chambers of commerce. I agree with you. They are the best place for small business owners, not only to learn from each other, but to be leaders in the business community.
That's right. And the reason I pointed that out, to not just start a business, but finish it, I literally started a business with the help of the chamber and networking there and leaning on other small business owners and what have you. And lo and behold, 5 years later, I ended up selling a business to somebody that I met at the Chamber of Commerce, and we would have lunch all the time. And so it was a great place to start and a great place to finish. So it's can't say enough about it. So thanks again. I really appreciate it.
It's where the magic happens, Jim. Thank you.
That's right. Thanks.
Thanks for watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.